President Trump is absolutely surging in the polls. He has his best ratings ever, while Democrats implode and completely go insane. I love every minute of it. Nothing brings me more joy. Let's jump into the news.
Democrats in disarray. That continues today. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer backtracking, throwing his support behind the Republican spending bill. Now, the far left calling for him to step down from his leadership role. Meanwhile, new polling shows that most voters hold historic unfavorable views of the party. Never been this low. Those numbers, record polling that we have found at NBC and CNN.
All right, liberal lunatics. Remember, NBC and CNN did this poll, not Fox News. I know the truth hurts.
Aisha Hasni has more on the Hill. Aisha, good morning to you as we begin a new week there in Washington.
Bill, good morning to you as well. The weekend really didn't help cool any minds out there. For his part, Leader Schumer is still trying to defend that decision last week, although not very many of his colleagues are out there publicly coming to his defense either. I will say that Senator Chris Murphy, who is widely seen as someone who could possibly replace the Democratic leader, says that he still supports Schumer, but warned that the strategy for the Democrats has to change.
If you are a Democrat in the Senate or in the House, you have to start acting with urgency. And that is the conversation that we have to start having inside our caucus.
Meanwhile, people are talking a lot more about this. House Democrats calling for AOC to primary Schumer. And Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett went on the record on Sunday warning the leader that everyone is watching his leadership in this moment.
Just think, this is the best Democrats have to offer. AOC and Jasmine Crockett. It's just, you know what? I love that Jasmine Crockett has made herself the new queen and face of the Democratic Party. All that does for Republicans is guarantee and secure them victory in the next 10 presidential elections. Keep up the great work. It's the best that the Democratic Party has to offer. AOC and Jasmine Crockett. It's just laughable. Democrats are a total disgrace. I love seeing the zombies all turn on each other and start to eat each other. Now they're going at it with Chuck Schumer, you know, the biggest communist on the planet. It's just comical. It's pathetic, comical, and entertaining all at once, but also scary that these three idiots yield some type of power in America. It just shows you what the Democratic Party has become.
Crockett also firing back at Senator John Fetterman over his criticism of the viral Find Your Fighter video. She shot back saying, why would anybody want to listen to someone who wears a sweatshirt short to the Capitol, doesn't own a suit? Check this out. When you talk about polling here, this is a...
Does Jasmine feel that way about Zelensky? He never wears a suit. Of course she doesn't.
Brand new CNN poll asking, who do you think the leader of the Democratic Party is? 10%, Bill, said AOC, followed by former Vice President Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders, and the list goes on. There was really no Democrat that overwhelmingly led the pack, and that is the concern the Democrats have here on Capitol Hill. What is their message, and who is going to be the voice that leads them? A lot of questions about whether that is Leader Schumer.
Good deal. Okay, yep. Aisha, thanks for watching that. Aisha Hasni on Capitol Hill. Thank you. Dana?
Kayleigh McEnany joins us. So it must be Monday, and a good one indeed. So let's start with President Trump, though. NBC News polls on direction of the country. November of 2024, election month, that was 27% thought it was headed the right direction. Now it's 44%. It is a stunning increase in just a few months.
It's a big deal. And NBC notes that he has three numbers at an all-time high in their polling. The right direction number, his approval rating, which is at 47% in NBC, and his personal favorability. All three metrics, President Trump has hit a record high, and that right direction number is pretty hard to shift. So this is America saying, we're behind this. Yes, we're still jittery about inflation. There's some apprehension there. But I mean, when you dig down into the nuts and bolts, 56% think he's making good change on immigration. Who would have said 8 years ago that the person who's saying, I want to build the wall and deport immigrants would have 56% approval? The country has changed, and they've changed in line with President Trump.
So on Doge, too, the NBC poll found 46 to 40%. 13% undecided. They support what's happening so far with the government.
With Doge, you said.
With Doge.
So with Doge, yes, there was this bifurcation where in principle, and we see this in almost every poll, at NBC as well, In principle, people support Doge. In practice, it's underwater by about 6-7 points. So I think that's where the PR is hugely important. Elon Musk continuing to put out the examples of hamsters in cages running and the spending he's cut and all the nonsense examples of government spending we've seen can help that in practice number come up to meet the number in principle, because a plurality support President Trump on cutting spending. We see that in the poll. It's Doge specifically.
The other thing that happened this weekend is that Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats on the Senate side, found himself as public enemy number one. Here's the Wall Street Journal Ed Board, though, saying that Chuck Schumer's finest hour, that Democrats are furious because he saved them from being responsible for a futile government shutdown. But boy, they are mad.
They are very mad. And, you have Hakeem Jeffries. How often do you see the two titular heads of the Democrat Party so at odds? And very much you see that here. There's this really interesting tension going on in the Democratic Party where broadly you see people saying, and in the NBC poll, hey, you're too critical of Trump. But when you dig down to Democratic voters specifically, to the tune of 57% in the CNN poll, 65% in NBC, they want to fight. Mm-hmm. They want to see their party fighting. So you have the base, probably the crowd that supports the biological men and women's sports, some of the anti-Israel protests. That crowd wants a fight, and that is your base. But you win that group, and you ostracize the vast majority of voters.
So I don't know how you recover from this. Trump drives so much of this every day. It almost, to me, it feels like Democrats are always playing catch up. Yeah. Do you have to wait until a midterm election, more than a year and a half away, in order to catch the leader? Because the leader's doing it right now.
Well, you have people trying to do creative things, like Gavin Newsom with the podcast. It's really fascinating. He's talking to these Republican figures. He's out there. But then I see data that says he's actually tanking in the polling because he's losing some of his base. So you find this tension where you need a Barack Obama, plain and simple. You need someone who can win progressive.
All right, the reason why is because when you lie, you just lie and lie and lie like Gavin Newsom. It just all falls apart eventually. And now it's all falling apart. I could literally, after all the Trump loving that I do, and I love Trump, which I do, he's the greatest American to ever live. I could say all this, and there could be multiple videos. If the Democratic machine got behind me and I ran as a Democrat, I'd have a better chance of winning than all the Democratic candidates because they're completely effing insane. They have no message other than lies. Anybody that thinks that Gavin Newsom's podcast he's doing a great job or he's entertaining, doing a great job of what? Lying and having absolutely no answers for America or American citizens? Putting illegals and gang members first and trans people? He has no answers, Gavin Newsom. He's the scum of the planet. I love seeing the zombies turn on each other. This broadcast, it just brings me so much joy. I love hearing Democrats implode. Nothing makes me happier. Think about this. Chuck Schumer, the biggest anti-Trump guy on the planet. Democrats are turning against him because he sided with Trump and didn't want to shut down the government. So now Democrats are mad at him. That guy despises Donald Trump. And the Democratic Party wants to tear him limb for limb. Because he actually did something that's good for the country. Just tells you what Democrats are. I can't stand Adam Sosnick. To me, he's a Democratic plant. He loves the Tate brothers who are human traffickers, pimps, and pedophiles, but he hates Donald Trump. So Bill Burr makes a total idiot out of himself. He sucks at comedy. He sucks as a human being. He sucks as an American. And Patrick Bet-David asks Adam, what's your take on this? And what does Adam do? He pivots because he doesn't want to say anything negative about a Democrat. And it's like, oh, do you think Bill Burr's a top 10 comedian? What is this, ESPN? Where they talk about LeBron and Michael Jordan, who's a better player? See, this is typical Sosnick because he doesn't want to ridicule or criticize any Democrats. I don't even know why PBD gives this effing communist clown a job.
Having a rant. This is towards who? This is towards Elon Musk. Is this the one that you?
Musk, I don't know if he's on a podcast, but I don't know what.
He
the
is.
hell.
Is this the one, Rob?
Yes, it's from his podcast, Monday Morning Podcast.
Okay, go ahead.
This is about 1 minute and 37 seconds. And just so you know, this just broke news yesterday and today. But this clip actually came out on the 17th of February. So this has been out there, just nobody reported.
Nobody
Goes to show nobody's
All right,
listening to
go
Bill
ahead and play
Burr.
the clip.
I'll tell you what's funny. I made fun of the fucking Twitter guy for fucking Sieg Heiling not once but twice. And I never look at my emails. I was scrolling through my emails and it said my Twitter account had been flagged for inappropriate. I don't even tweet anymore. It had been flagged for whatever. What a fucking baby. Just like Hitler. A fucking baby.
Yeah.
How about the fact that the Twitter guy he's not even from here. He's from South Africa. He comes to this country and wants to turn it into a fucking dictatorship. He doesn't feel that we deserve democracy. Can you just imagine doing that? Going to another country and
Vinny?
and just
He's
happened?
not done.
Hang on.
He's not done.
What happened, Rob?
because I've decided.
What happened?
Yeah, he doesn't mind living under a dictatorship as long as he's on the good side of it. Fucking laminated face cunt. Because that's another thing. All of these people that are into fucking Hitler, you know what I mean? And like, look at this guy like he was some sort of fucking hero. The guy's one of the biggest fucking cowards ever. All the pain and all the suffering that guy's caused and the war crimes the Allies had to commit, firebombing fucking cities to get that motherfucker. When it came time for him to pay the price for all the suffering he caused millions and millions and millions of people.
Vinny.
Did he face the music? No, he gave himself a nice, quick, painless fucking death.
Vinny, I'm going to ask you the question. I'll tee it up for you.
What?
We had a poll. Is Bill Burr a top 10 comedian? You said yes. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Stop.
You realize
Stop.
he's not funny.
Stop for a second. Let him react. Don't change the topic because you're going comedy. Let him react to what he said about money.
I love that Patrick Bet David shut this idiot down because this is a typical pivot that Adam likes to do because he doesn't want to criticize Democrats. I don't know how he has a job.
This is not a comedy topic. Go ahead.
I personally don't know what happened to Bill Burr. Okay, maybe it's his wife. Maybe she's in his ear. Maybe it's something else. But the signs are there. Funny story. So back in L.A., the pandemic's over. Okay, one of my friends, Mark, is doing comedy shows outside in Hollywood behind like one of those nightclubs. Bill Burr walks in, tight ass. I'm talking about the mask was so tight. Nobody else is wearing masks. He's the only one. Tight mask. This is how gone he is as a liberal. Goes on stage, kind of, away from everybody, doesn't want to go on anybody. Then he goes on stage. The stage is circular. Then he takes off his mask and he proceeds to tell jokes, Rob. And now everybody's laughing, projectile spitting towards him. So the irony is just, it's hilarious. And the fact that he's saying he thinks Elon Musk, guys, and the fact that it came out, Rob, last month, he still thinks you're so stupid and gullible. You think this guy is going to do the Nazi salute twice? That just shows how stupid Bill Burr is, okay? That's how gone he is. I guarantee you he was one of the BLM posting the black squares and all that shit. He probably donated, even though they stole all the freaking money. But here's my question, Bill. What have you ever built? What have you built? We talked about this yesterday. Your podcast studio, Elon Musk, Zip2, PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, Solar City, OpenAI, Neuralink, helping people that can't move any of their freaking limbs talk and type on a fucking computer. All right? The Boring Company, XAI, and the list can keep going, okay? And he bought Twitter so people like us can actually speak out, Bill. Not like the one that had before that was actually treating it like Nazis, kicking people off the platform and censoring people, okay? Meanwhile, he's sitting over there and you're talking shit about a guy that's revolutionizing the world, changing the freaking game. And let's not forget who Bill Burr is. He was at some sneaker thing, Rob. You can look it up. A millionaire, multi-millionaire that used a capitalist country to become a millionaire, talking shit about the system, and then says free Luigi. Okay, free Luigi, a guy that murdered. I don't give a shit how you feel about the guy. Praising a guy that murdered a guy in the middle of the street in cold blood, that's married, has children, just shows exactly what Hollywood does to these fucking liberals like Bill Burr. Bill Burr, still funny as hell, but something has shifted and is changing, and that's
the first thing that Vinny said that I totally disagree with. There's nothing funny about Bill Burr. I don't understand how he's a millionaire doing comedy because he absolutely sucks. He's like the typical white guy that like thinks he's like into hip hop, like Eminem. They all sound like somebody's squeezing their balls when they talk with that high pitched voice. It's just weird. I noticed that like all these white guys that think they're hip hop, they literally talk like somebody's grabbing their balls when they talk with that voice. I can't stand Bill Burr. Can't stand him. There's nothing funny about him.
Hollywood does to these people. It's freaking sad, bro. And you've admitted it. Bill Burr says, I'm just a comedian. And this is the game that they play. I'm just a comedian. Don't take me serious. No, you open your mouth and you talk shit, so people are going to talk shit back to you. And he said this before. Bill knows this. He goes, I don't read. Maybe you should start reading, Bill. Start reading a book. Open up a book because he sounds like a freaking idiot. Moron.
Tom.
I think the last part of what Vinny just said really resonates with me. If you're going to be a comedian, there's a difference between satire and obvious humor and a rant. And when you make a rant, which is like you're publishing your opinion on the inside of the LA Times, when you make a rant like that, then you're going to face the music of the consequences of your rant, because people are going to say, wait a minute, that's not your comedy, that's your position. You're not making fun of something, you're taking a position here, and you need to hear from us. And now we're going to go back and we're going to talk to you about it. And people say, no, stop. The thing he said about Rachel Maddow, he was just making a joke. Nobody's saying that. People are looking at this guy going, wait a minute, dude. That's a position. That's an op-ed. That's an opinion page on your own personal newspaper. And you need to own up for these things you've said and back them up. Are you going to back him up with the facts? Are you really going to defend that position? Is that where you want to go? Is that the guy that you're going to have club owners saying, well, let's see if we can get Bill in here tonight? Is that the guy? You know, I don't know. I don't know if the audience is going to eat that dog food. And there's a hell of a difference between, I was funny, I was a comedian. What happened to when he went on a rant like that, in Philly? Michael Richards. Michael Richards. He lost it on stage and went on a rant. What did Jerry Seinfeld say? Sitting with Letterman 2 days later, they looked at the clip, they bleeped it, and Seinfeld turns to Letterman and said, you can't do that. That's not the act. You can't do that. And I think I'm quoting him exactly when he turned to Letterman and says, you can't do that. It was such a great way he handled it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember that. Adam, your thoughts?
Well, sorry to make you apologize, but I think we're on the same.
I'm not apologizing for anything. I think Bill Burr is still listen, him being hilarious.
Look at PBD's face. Adam, your thoughts. Everybody else did their job, gave a quick response to what Bill Burr was. So Adam, it's almost like Adam thinks he's running the show and he gets to ask somebody else a question. Patrick David just said, Adam, what do you think? He never, when it's time to ridicule or criticize a Democrat, think about this. All right, let's play it first.
There's bits, Adam, as a comedian, there's bits that will live forever. Bill Burr's specials were brilliant. Something shifted, he changed it. And like, for instance, to say Free Luigi, do you know how stupid and ignorant that is? The guy was shot. I don't give a fuck how you feel. He was shot and killed. The guy has a family. He has kids. They're going to have to be up fatherless. And for the rest of their lives, their father was, and that footage is out there of him getting murdered, and you're out there trying to be funny saying Free Luigi. You're not just a comedian. So when you talk shit in this game, people are going to talk shit back. It's stupid. So I'm not apologizing for anything that I've said or changing my stance. He's hilarious. Okay. He's hilarious.
So, and I'll be real quick. There's a difference between good, great, and the GOATs. So, in my opinion, he's a good comedian. He's had some good bits. He's not great, and he certainly ain't a GOAT, and he's certainly not in the top 10 of all time. Real quick, I'm just jotting down names that come to mind. Dave Chappelle, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Seinfeld, Cat Williams, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Rodney Dangerfield, Louis C.K., Patrice O'Neal, Andrew Schultz these days, Shane Gillis, Tom Segura. These guys, and I'm just riffing.
You think Bill Burr's not better than Tom Segura? Than Tom Segura? Yes. I don't know. Louis C.K.
But the fact that that's even a conversation is my point.
Yeah.
Is that nobody would say Tom Segura is a top 10 comedian, maybe active, but of all time, Bill Burr ain't in that list.
What does that have to do with him saying, like an idiot, that Elon Musk took that opportunity at the inauguration to throw 2 Hitler salutes like he was dog whistling towards Nazis and white supremacists. That has nothing to do with his comedy. That's just pure brainwashed ignorance. Bill Burr is smarter than that, or at least I thought he was. But by his own admission, he doesn't read. Okay, and then when people check you, for you to go, Adam, I've never done this. Well, I'm just a comedian. No. I use this mic, and when I speak from the freaking heart. And guess what? Check me, tear me apart, talk shit, and we can have that argument. But to be saying the shit that he's saying, Adam, something shifted. Somebody was in his ear, and now what? This place is a shitty place, and we should feel sorry for living in America. And by the way, you're talking about an African guy. This guy's not from this country and whatever, and that nails our point. This guy is revolutionizing the game, bro. NASA who? It's Elon Musk right now, bro, with Doge and everything like that. Comedy aside, what Bill Burr is doing, bro, is not in his like wheelhouse. He looks ill-informed. He looks stupid, and I just wish, and I hate to be the guy that says stick to comedy, bro. You were hilarious. The specials were amazing. He's just getting more angrier and bitter, and I think somebody is in his ear, and I think we all know.
But they give him a pass.
So, of course, Adam deflects from doing his job. You just had Bill Burr compare Elon Musk to Adolf Hitler, call him a dictator. Meanwhile, he's auditing the government to let all American citizens know where their tax money is going. And that's what Bill Burr calls him, right? So then it's Adam's turn. Everybody, PBD goes around the table. Vinny, what do you think? Tom, what do you think? He gets to Adam. Adam automatically pivots. Oh, I'll make it quick. You know, he tries to always soften PBD up with because he knows this bothers him. So he tries to soften the blow. Oh, I did some research. I'll do this real quick. I jotted down some names. Do you think he's a top 10 GOAT of comedy? What the F are you talking about, Adam? Do your effing job. So Bill Burr just said all these things about Elon Musk, that he's Hitler, that he's a dictator, he's a communist, and Adam doesn't have any comments about that, calling him out for the idiot that Bill Burr is, and wants to know where the cast around him ranks Bill Burr in comedy. The F are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know how Patrick Bet-David deals with this. Every single time it's time for Adam to criticize or give it, because what is he going to say? It's going to be negative. He can't say anything positive about Bill Burr after comparing Elon to Hitler. So he's going to have to say something negative. And whenever Adam is forced to say something negative about a Democrat or a liberal, this is exactly what he does. He pivots off the topic, tries to take control like he's PBD, dictating what the questions are going to be. I can't stand Adam Sosnick. This is the same guy that hates Trump, but loves the Tate brothers, who are human traffickers, pimps, and pedos. And whenever Adam talks, I literally just stop the clip or stop watching the show when Adam talks. I can't stand him.